Hi, I'm Bryan with Pioneer Builders. Today I'm going to talk to you about return air pathways. Let's get into it. First, I want to talk to you about the building science behind what we're doing. This is a solution for HVAC, which is in this case really the treatment of air for heating and cooling. So Tamarack Technologies sent to me their return air pathway, or RAP. They've got a variety of different styles. In this case, it was for a 2x4 wall. But here's what we're taking care of. Up here is where we have our supply duct for this room. It's a pretty small room. It doesn't have a huge heating or cooling load. But the fan upstairs, it's actually in the attic, will be pushing air into this room. And just imagine if you had a balloon and you just kept blowing into it, it would get bigger and bigger and bigger as you're adding more air to it. What you want in a house is for a return air pathway so that you don't get this massive pressure coming into the room. You know what you might think of if you ever go into a high-rise building or something and the door opens and a gust of wind comes out and hits you, or maybe it comes in from behind you. That's just a way to visualize, or maybe the experience you might have had when it comes to pressure differences. So if we're pressurizing this room, there's a couple of different ways that we can provide for that air to have a smooth way back to the return air main grill that we have in this house for this side of the house. In this case, I don't want to just rely on a door undercut. That's one way that you can do it. But we actually have to test our house out as we get near finishing the house in order to get our Energy Star certification. So come down here and I'll show you what our solution is on this house in this particular room. So this is that return air pathway from Tamarack Technologies. I can't remember the gauge of sheet metal. I used some U2 fasteners in order to screw it in. The drywaller will come in later and be able to fasten as needed. Realistically, they're probably just going to cut this out and it's going to be supported. We have this installed. One thing that I wanted to point out is this cardboard that comes in here is intentional. You don't have to leave it, but it provides for some sound attenuation, so it'll absorb some of the sound, and it also will keep from having too much light bouncing through. So anyway, you might want to think about keeping it there or taking it out. Oh, and one other thing, it kind of serves to straighten the air as it goes through there. So that's kind of cool. All right, you have to think ahead for how are you going to actually fasten the grills later on. In fact, let me do this. This is what's going to be on the outside later. So obviously you need some kind of backing in there. And we have one of the ugliest 2x4s you ever did see, but hey, it is what it is. So we're going to go ahead and install a piece up here and then a piece that comes here. So when you do your blocking, you measure at the bottom and it's close enough to 22.5. It's more like 22 3/8. So I'm just going to mark that, 22 3/8. Got my little speed square here. Mark that. Didn't cut through quite as nicely as I would have liked. So I'm just going to use the old persuader. Maybe it's because of that knot being right there. But that'll be okay for what we're trying to accomplish. Now, these are kind of something you have to keep track of where it is. Let's see, that fits in there just fine. And now I'm going to come in, make sure we look good. Come in at an angle. All right, that's pretty good. Bring that down. And then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to end nail it. All right, that looks pretty decent. And there you have it. So we're ready for really drywall, because there's no insulation that's going in this wall. This is what it's going to look like when it's finished. So we'll have to, drill the screws in, mount that. It's going to be on either side. Pretty cool. This is the first time we've used this device. I think it's going to be helpful. I can't wait to get to the conclusion of our construction so that when we're testing the house for its performance, we can see whether or not we're getting too much or the right amount of pascals difference between the inside and the outside. Maybe in another video I'll talk about what pascals is. But that is the Tamarack return air pathway. There's a variety of different sizes that you can get. So this is the one we used here. We'll see how it goes. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this kind of content, give me a follow. I'm at Pioneer Builders Inc. over on Instagram. I'm also on the Build Show Network. So I'm going to go ahead and drop that into the comments below or in the description, so you can check me out there to see other long form content. All right. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time. Now go build something.